National Electrical Code Article 800.44 generally requires telephone lines to be installed inside conduits. This requirement aims to protect the communication cables from physical damage and ensure a safer electrical environment. However, there are exceptions to this rule outlined in sections 800.44b and 800.44c of the National Electrical Code. Article 800.44b permits exposed telephone lines in specific scenarios. Firstly, in unfinished attics or basements, exposed telephone lines are often allowed due to the reduced risk of physical damage and limited accessibility. Secondly, in commercial or industrial occupancies, exposed lines are permitted provided they are not within 6 feet of the floor. This height restriction minimizes the potential for accidental contact or damage from equipment and personnel. Thirdly, in residential occupancies, exposed telephone lines are allowed when attached to a surface that is not readily accessible. This typically includes high walls or ceilings where the cables are less likely to be disturbed or damaged. Article 800.44c addresses telephone lines in exposed locations, mandating the use of a listed cable tray system or another approved method to provide physical protection. A cable tray system offers a structured and secure way to support and protect the cables, while other approved methods might include using raceways or protective sleeves. The critical factor is to ensure that the cables are adequately shielded from potential damage, whether from impacts, abrasion, or other environmental factors. Considering a scenario where exposed telephone lines are attached to interior walls with staples, such an installation would generally not be permitted under the National Electrical Code. Staples offer minimal protection against physical damage and do not meet the requirements for secure cable support. To bring such an existing installation up to code, there are a couple of options. Firstly, installing the lines inside conduits would provide a robust and code-compliant solution. Conduits offer excellent physical protection and can be easily installed along interior walls. Secondly, using a listed cable tray system would also meet the code requirements. This approach is particularly suitable for installations with multiple cables, as it provides an organized and easily accessible pathway for the telephone lines. It is important to understand the specific requirements outlined in the National Electrical Code for telephone line installations. Firstly, the type of occupancy, whether residential, commercial, or industrial, affects the permissibility of exposed lines. Secondly, the location of the cables within the building, such as attics, basements, or accessible walls, influences the need for physical protection. Thirdly, the height of the exposed lines above the floor in commercial or industrial settings is a crucial factor. To ensure code compliance, it is advisable to consult with a qualified electrical inspector or contractor who can assess the specific installation and provide guidance on the appropriate methods and materials. They can also help identify any potential hazards or code violations and recommend solutions to address them. The National Electrical Code is a comprehensive set of standards designed to ensure electrical safety and prevent hazards. It is updated regularly to reflect new technologies and best practices in the electrical industry. Understanding and adhering to the NEC requirements is essential for anyone involved in electrical installations, whether it's a homeowner, contractor, or electrician. For telephone line installations, paying close attention to Article 800.44 and its subsections is crucial for ensuring a safe and code-compliant installation. Firstly, always verify the specific requirements for the type of occupancy and location. Secondly, use approved methods and materials for protecting exposed cables. Thirdly, consult with a qualified professional if you have any questions or concerns. The NEC specifies different types of raceways that can be used for telephone line installations. These raceways provide physical protection and can be either metallic or non-metallic. Firstly, electrical metallic tubing, or EMT, is a thin-walled steel conduit that is easy to bend and install. It is suitable for use in dry locations and provides good protection against physical damage. Secondly, rigid metal conduit, or RMC, is a heavy-walled steel conduit that offers superior protection against physical damage and corrosion. It is suitable for use in both dry and wet locations. Thirdly, electrical non-metallic tubing, or ENT, is a flexible plastic conduit that is lightweight and easy to install. It is suitable for use in dry locations and provides good protection against physical damage. In addition to raceways, cable trays can also be used to support and protect telephone lines. Cable trays are open support systems that allow for easy access to the cables for maintenance and repairs. Firstly, ladder cable trays consist of two side rails connected by rungs. They provide good ventilation and are suitable for heavy cable loads. Secondly, trough cable trays have a solid bottom and are suitable for lighter cable loads and applications where shielding is required. Thirdly, wire mesh cable trays are made of woven wire mesh and are lightweight and easy to install. They are suitable for supporting small cables and wires. When installing telephone lines and conduits or cable trays, it is important to follow the manufacturer's instructions and the NEC requirements for spacing and support. Firstly, the cable should be properly supported to prevent sagging and strain. Secondly, the conduit or cable tray should be sized appropriately to accommodate the number and size of cables. Thirdly, the cable should be protected from sharp edges and abrasion. In addition to physical protection, it is also important to protect telephone lines from electrical interference. This can be achieved by using shielded cables and grounding the conduit or cable tray. Thusly, shielded cables have a metallic layer that blocks electromagnetic interference. Secondly, grounding the conduit or cable tray provides a path for straight currents to flow to ground, reducing the risk of electrical shock and interference. The National Electrical Code also addresses the separation of communication cables from power cables. This separation is intended to prevent electrical interference and reduce the risk of fire. Firstly, communication cables should be separated from power cables by a minimum distance of 2 inches. Secondly, if the communication cables and power cables are installed in the same conduit or cable tray, they should be separated by a barrier. In addition to the National Electrical Code, local codes and regulations may also apply to telephone line installations. It is important to check with the local authorities to ensure compliance with all applicable requirements. Firstly, some local codes may have stricter requirements for the type of conduit or cable tray that can be used. Secondly, some local codes may require a permit for telephone line installations. The information provided is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. It is always best to consult with a qualified electrical inspector or contractor to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Firstly, a qualified professional can assess the specific installation and provide guidance on the appropriate methods and materials. Secondly, a qualified professional can identify any potential hazards or code violations and recommend solutions to address them. In summary, the National Electrical Code requires telephone lines to be installed inside conduits, unless otherwise permitted in specific exceptions. Exposed telephone lines must be protected from physical damage using a listed cable tray system or other approved method. It is important to follow the NEC requirements and local codes to ensure a safe and code-compliant installation.